Welcome back to the North American Regional Qualifier. We're just a few minutes away from the start of the Cloud9 versus Gravity series. So, gentlemen, last thoughts on the series before we get into it. What can we expect to see today?
I think it's gonna come down to who, if it's the move from the mid-season where he was a big part of the Gravity success, or if it's the move that's showed on in the later part where he had some very rough games. So that's going to be a huge part for me in the games.
Yeah, I want to see what happens with the picks and bans because Gravity picked red side for all their games and Cloud9 picked blue, which means someone was correct about this one. They can't both be in the better spot being on the same side every single game. So I'm curious to see like if the first pick means more, the last pick means more, and then if that actually translates to a series win, if these teams are close otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, I think just based off so many teams picking blue side, at least in the 5-14 patch, generally the counter pick mid lane is kind of a bit of a thing in the past. Keen will have a different look to it. I think it's more about counterpicking the top laner in a lot of situations. And aside from the AD carry matchup that I mentioned earlier, I am really looking to see if Incarnation can outperform Keen because he was trending so heavily upwards towards the end of the year. And I want to see if he can kind of show that he is a top mid laner.
All right, jungle mid, AD carry, and picks and bans. That's what we're looking for. Now, without further ado, let's pass it over to our caster desk.
Hey guys, thanks Dash. Let's jump right into our first series of the regional qualifier. It's going to be Cloud9 versus Gravity. These are two teams that we haven't seen in action for a while now, so there are a lot of questions about how the teams will perform after just about a month here.
Yeah, and for Gravity, they were the team to beat in Week 8, but in Week 9, they dropped to 4th from 1st. So today is all about recapturing their momentum. And a big part of this will hinge on Move, who Trashy was talking about, who really fell off in the last couple of weeks of the summer split. In Gravity's first 7 weeks, Move averaged 2.2 deaths per game. But in their last 2 weeks, he was averaging more than twice that at 5.75 deaths per game.
Yep, and then meanwhile, Cloud9 split had a very different trajectory. The team had a rough early start to the split and made a late run to climb out of 9th and into 7th, saving their hides.
No longer Cloud 9th place. Cloud9 has had a history of great finishes, but not many expected to see Cloud9 avoid the spring promotion tournament. And they had been hovering around the bottom of the pack all split, but they pulled it together when it counted to squeak into the regional qualifiers and make it here today for their shot at Worlds.
Yep, the whole team showed a marked improvement, and you could really see a change in Cloud9's attitude under Hai's leadership.
Yeah, and Hai's leadership trickled over to other people. The player that had the biggest transformation was their newest member, Incarnation. Incarnation went from being a lukewarm laner that went from just going even in CS at 10 minutes to having the highest CS differential at 10 minutes and had a CS lead in 7 out of Cloud9's last 8 games. It was a completely different turnaround for this mid laner. And obviously we haven't seen them play as a team since the end of the regular split, but many of the players that have scrimmed against them say Cloud9 have a good shot this week. We've talked to a lot of them, and everybody seems to be gunning for them. So, as strange as it sounds to call Cloud9 a Cinderella story, they could go on a miracle run to secure their 3rd consecutive appearance at Worlds. But it has to start with today's matchup against Gravity.
Trashy was saying himself that if Cloud9 makes it, he thinks they're going to be the ones that run. It's putting a lot on them.
A lot of pro players are saying that.
Alltech weighed in on this matchup and says that Gravity have been retooling some of their strategies and are confident they can handle Cloud9.
I think our strategy where we pick flexible picks and either play at top or mid, I don't think that has really worked out for us as of recently. So I think we're going back to a maybe more standard play style. But I think against C9, their champion pools are very limited. Like Balls, he usually just goes with the Rumble or Maokai, and maybe Incarnation goes with Azir or some assassins and stuff like that. But I think overall their picks are pretty telegraphed, and I think as long as we have strategies for whatever they pick, I think we'd be okay.
I think everybody okay if you have picks for the strategies. But it all comes down to if you can make it happen during that champion select. Let's check out the starting lineups and see how they do. On the blue side, it's going to be Cloud9. That means it's Balls in the top lane, Hai in the jungle, Incarnation in mid, Sneaky Day to carry, Lemonation at support with still Coach Bubba Dub.
And on the red side, it's Gravity. Hanser in top, Move in the jungle, Keen in the mid lane, Alltech at AD carry, Bunny Fufu on support, and the same coach as always, it's Cop.
But I do agree with Alltech a bit on that as well, that the champion pools are a bit weaker on the side of Cloud9. in the top lane. You'd see Ball's underperforming a little bit during the season. His Rumble fell behind and falling back to the kind of the majority top laners, Gnar, Maokai, and still underperforming a little bit.
Yeah, his Rumble had an amazing streak coming into this split, and then all of a sudden they start dropping games and it's not as potent as it was before.
Right.
They've been putting him on Maokai very frequently, but coming into today, I want to see what happens with that counter pick. What do they use it for on Gravity's last pick?
That's true. He said they were going to kind of stay away from the flexing as much, go more towards standard. We'll see if that stays true. The Kalista ban coming from their side, as we would expect, or got in Italy as well from Cloud9.
Yeah, and when Gravity was seeing a lot of their success, it was with Move on Nidalee, and then they had Bunny Fufu on Shen support, and they had a Sivir for Altec, so they were taking all these fights very quickly, and they were able to have global pressure from the support and the shot caller and captain.
Instantly be able to grab somebody in those fights. The Fizz goes as well. So maybe taking that away from Hanser in the top lane to make sure he's not too aggressive. That play style to seem definitely more aggressive than Balls if they were to match up.
And there's the Lulu taken away to stop people from enabling their AD carries and going with Protect the Kog'Maw.
A lot more lately.
Altec is a huge point of power for Gravity. He does the most of their damage and the most of any AD carries % of their team's damage.
Both AD carries actually coming into this matchup, Zyrene. We see even during losses still have pretty nice score lines for their team. They position well, they're still trying to pick it up and put the team on their back. So even if the game goes awry, we'll still look for them as a bright spot.
It's true, and I actually like the Azir takeaway here as well from Incarnation, because coming into today, when you were getting that last pick, counter pick on Gravity's side, I was thinking Incarnation's just going to go with Victor, Azir, or Orianna, one of those, the very safe picks when you're picking them blind, especially against Keen's champion pool. You take away the Urgot, make sure he doesn't have that up his sleeve. You basically leave him with things like Jarvan as hard counters to some of your mages in the mid lane. So I like the Azir takeaway here. It's so hard to counter that champion, even when you know it's coming.
It's definitely a tier above other mid laners for champions, or for tier above other champions for mid laners. I'll get it out. Tristana, however, is going to be first picked by Cloud9. Sneaky has been picking that up for the past few games, and Kalista, when it was left open, that's banned. Back to Trist.
Their last 5 games have been Tristana or Kalista. Of course, picking that up. First pick, you see the priority here they put on having Sneaky get that champion over Altec locking it in for himself. If Altec's able to get that champion, you risk early turrets going down, and Gravity getting that early game advantage that they were thriving off of in the beginning of the split.
Well, we'll see if Cloud9 can start the momentum their way, taking down some turrets early game if they get the matchups that they want. Gravity taking all the time here as Hanser gets himself comfortable. See the Gragas being locked in. Quite a bit of this as well at Madison Square Garden. Gragas after Gragas game getting locked in by the junglers. Braum as well for Bunny Fufu.
The last time we saw Gragas for move was the very end of the season, not playoffs. He didn't play it in playoffs once. And in that last game against TDK, which ended up being a loss. But besides that, he hadn't played it since week 5, but still a champion he has up his sleeve. I do like the Braum for Bunny Fufu. Even though Alistar's on the table, they want to take that away. It's a very high priority pick. Great skirmish champion and very good at level 1s. And Gravity, we've known their early game strategies. Their level 1s were something they were getting enormous advantages off of over teams beginning of the split, and their early games too. So if they're able to fall back on that and Bunny Fufu shot calling with Braum can come into play, they might be able to get an early advantage here.
It's interesting to see no support bans going at him with the way that Gravity's kind of tiebreakers and matches towards the end of the season went. He was definitely seeing some Thresh and Braum bans alike, or Alistar, I should say. But really Braum in that taster's choice right now for the supports. Karma getting locked in again by Lemon Nation, continuously staying with this pick, and the Diana.
This is most likely a TP Diana in mid lane for Incarnation. It is flexible though. We can see it top. Very, very rarely do we see that though. But the mid lane TP Diana, I'll talk about it more when the TP actually gets locked in when we get into game. But the Karma for Lemonation is a pick that he has picked 3 times in a row. The last 3 games that they played at the split, 2 of them losses, 1 of them a victory, but it was against TSM.
So Limit, yep. That very, very crushing victory they had. They also had Shyvana in the jungle for that. Just a pretty much pedal to the metal composition they had for that one. But he's also brought it out to the likes of CLG as well within those last 3 games. So it's definitely something they feel they can control the game with, even versus the top teams. See what Keen has in his pick, Altec as well, and then they will be able to counter what they're looking at here. It's just got to stick with what they want and comfort with Victor and Ashe for Altec.
I like this, the comfort of having the Victor, very great wave clear champion in the mid lane. You assume it's a mid lane Diana, so you can already lock in your middle pick, and then you save your counter pick for your top laner. I really like this strategy coming in here because top lane just has so much priority on it right now in terms of counter pick and getting a good matchup here.
I'm just taking a second look. I was thinking about this earlier because Sneaky was playing Ashe. They talked about it on the analyst desk, but yeah, there's no Ashe play this season in the summer for Altec coming in here. So this is going to be his play now on the stage. Has obviously played it in solo queue, knows the gist of it. We'll just see how it goes.
Altec and Bunny Fufu combo here. The Freljord guys coming in. Ashe, long range engage. You also have counter engage and a little bit of engage with Bunny Fufu on that Braum. But this is a deadly combo. And Ashe, I'm very surprised. Whoa, 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 whoa. All right,
okay.
All right. I said I was very surprised at that.
It's been a month.
Whatever.
We wondered if they were going to bring anything out.
Ashe is getting very popular. We'll throw that off to the side. High on the Amumu.
Awesome.
And balls on the Rumble. The Wombo combo coming down here.
We are on 514, to reiterate what patch we're on. Making sure everybody knows, but High is going to take the Amumu. I wouldn't put it past these guys. These are the guys that brought out Rengar during the season.
Yeah,
so.
High just goes with... this is like a High old school Quantic when he was the jungler of this team.
Getting the stretch in.
Going back to it. When's the last time you saw an Amumu?
Isn't Amumu one of his favorite junglers or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of the champions that he played way back in the day when they were qualifying for the LCS.
For sure. Well, Cloud9, I love when any teams try something in the first few games of a best of 5. You have comfort to fall back on, test your opponent, and see where their boundaries are. Why not do it with an Amumu, a Diana, and keep that karma going in the bot lane?
Oh man, I like these compositions coming together here. A lot of engage on Gravity's side. They're able to get in with the Ashe Arrow. Takes the burden of engaging off of Poncer, so he doesn't have to play Maokai. He gets to play the Gnar, and he gets to have a good matchup where he can bully out Balls a little bit. But Balls isn't looking for the one-on-one. He's looking for the team fights with the Amumu.
Yes.
High's impact this game versus Move. We were talking about has High picked up new junglers, which is going back to an old one.
That he is. Another thing that also falls into play here is positioning for Gravity. It's going to be the instant bandage toss into ultimate. You haven't played around it that much. You may mess up a few times, and those few times can be the fights that Cloud9 needs to really get themselves ahead. Still, can't count Gravity out. We talked about the early game. You're going to have move on Gragas. You might be able to set something up with Bunny Fufu on Braum, depending how they split things up. We are going to be getting into this North American Regional Qualifier, Cloud9 versus Gravity. It's been, like we said, roughly a month before since these teams have played, so I'm sure they're ready and raring to go.
Yep. And Bubba Dub there on your screen. Since he got brought on, I was very surprised they didn't bring Charlie back because Charlie was helping the Challenger team. But Bubba Dub is the one still in Champion Select with them, still coaching them. I heard that he's raising their morale, and he gives Lemonation a lot of freedom of picks. You can see High there. Gets to pick something very off meta for him.
Guys have like the longest honeymoon phase going on. We're about to be tracking how you guys think the series will go, so keep sharing your picks by voting on Twitter. Send hashtag C9win or hashtag GVWin to @LOL Esports, and we'll tally those up as we go throughout the game. We have a best of 5 on our hands. They were quite fast over in Europe. Let's see what kind of fight Gravity and Cloud9 can put up here in North America. We are on the Rift for Game 1.
And I want to see what Incarnation can do on this TP mid Diana. When you have double globals, you can put a lot of priority bottom lane. Sneaky can push pretty much without regard for himself. He'll always have backup. And here comes the Gravity. Level 1 invade.
All right. Vision, Mantra queued, allows them to realize there's somebody on their side of the wall, but power in numbers here for Gravity as they push through to get the wards they need. Good movement by Sneaky. Looks like he's trailing off. They're actually, he's waiting quite a bit of time, holding his ward maybe to make sure he gets it later, or just going back for a fight.
I'm not sure what Sneaky
knows he sees all the members of Gravity, so he can hang out for a bit.
Yeah, he's going to throw his ward over right now.
There it is. So he's just definitely waiting on time.
Make sure it's around.
Yeah, why not?
For the 2-minute and 10
No pressure,
second
no
mark.
pressure.
Still hanging out on this side of the map, though, for Gravity. They warded up the Amumu's blue side, because that's usually the side that Amumu wants to start on, right? Yeah. Doesn't benefit too much from the Krug smite. Go ahead, get the Gromp smite, get the blue. Really good buff for Amumu to have, so this is the appropriate side to ward up.
It's far away. You were alone the whole time.
I'll talk about the Diana mid now. Because the double global pressure, you get to play more to the bottom lane, but also the TP covers the weaker laning phase of Diana until you hit 6. So even if you get pushed out, you still get to cause the enemy to have a bad back. You get to take jungle camps pretty much on a whim. She's very good at clearing the jungle with just a shield and a Q.
That shield to start so he can get up in the face of Keen to start farming off. We wondered if Keen would be trying anything
Ward's
new.
going to pay off. See what happens here.
Just goes for the Victor. Lemonation can get a nice Q over the wall here. Mantra's charged up once
They don't know.
again.
They're going for damage.
They're actually right on the pressure. Immediately, that shot actually goes over to Bunny Fufu.
Gets level 2 from it. He
Yes.
didn't split experience with Altec.
Nope. They kind of get a little mess up on that as they wanted. It didn't go to them, but it works out.
Yeah, the experience advantage does go over to Gravity, though. And even though
Still
Braum
have
took
it.
some damage,
Altec's flash.
yep, that's true. Altec's flash is the big part that comes out of it. And they actually get priority in the lane on C9 side. So C9 gets to push it out because Altec is half HP. He doesn't want to use his potion just yet. He wants to just rely on passive regen, rely on the stacks of the Relic Shield to get back to healthy. So he's not going to blow that potion just yet, which I think is a smart idea, but he's basically lost all pressure in this lane.
So that held ward from Sneaky pays off to make sure they get Gravity. They have the matched up lanes here. We will not get a lane swap for game 1, and we'll see how Cloud9 holds this pressure in the bot lane. Still a do-si-do in the mid. Keen and Incarnation trading a bit of damage and mana, but keeping the farm quite even between themselves. Looks like Sneaky's going to get a bit of vision so they can keep this aggression up in that bot lane and stay pushed. Might see move here. It was a good timing of the ward. He could just be on scuttle duty at this point.
They pinged it out, though. They know that he's just going to body slam over the wall. He's going to try to find a different route in.
Nicely done.
Not spotted. He's going to get the flank here, and it's Tristana, so you're constantly pushing up.
Yep.
They do have their summoners available. See if Bunny Fufu goes for the engage first.
This Ignite as well on Lemonation if they decide to turn. Looks like they're going for the escape. Sneaky jumps to the top side. Lemon's flash is down, so they may be able to work off of that. Flash for a flash, basically, within these engages. Move with a little bit of pressure towards the bot side. High is going to be backing at this point, knowing the pressure of move in the bot lane should kind of relieve a little bit for the lanes as well.
Yeah, move. He's going to go back again for round 2. And he's just going to hang around the bot side. You do see Incarnation has already used his teleport to get a second Doran's Ring and potion, so he can continue the pressure on mid lane. I love keeping my eye on the Diana TP, because they shove the waves out, they back, and then they force you to get a terrible recall, and then they just clear the wave, and they get a slow CS advantage, which is something that Diana normally doesn't get over good laners.
He keeps himself on a clock, not something we see Incarnation doing.
Oh, they hit Lemon. They hit Lemon.
His flash is down. Remember, just a few more hits for Winter's Bite. The barrel slow as well. There's the lockdown. No Ignite to finish, but they do get a final shot from Altec. High was just short off of his back to get to the bot lane.
A little bit off the timing there, but move. Very diligent, playing to the bottom lane, realizing this is going to be all about the AD carries. Enable Altec, and Altec, like we said, he does so much of Gravity's damage. Why not? Why not go bottom?
Easy play as well. Like you said, that TP was down. Looks like Keen can play a little dangerous here. He does have that exhaust plus his Q shield. Looks like Move is just going to back and forth in this. They know they have no pressure to take him out.
Yeah, just trying to assist with the wave clear. You can see Keen is in a position where he's down consumables, he's down items. He wants to back. He already has that 1,000 gold to spend on his upgrade.
Nice little farm by Sneaky as he picks up more under the turret. That lane has stayed quite even with the pressure that it's had. And Incarnation starts to separate a little bit. Before that bottom engage, I was saying, Incarnation now in a champion that kind of he has to.
Oh, he jumped over him.
I'm not going to get to tell this story. Oh, ball's going deep.
Oh, another shot.
One more shot. He goes down, unfortunately. 1 inch too close to the turret. Well played by Haunter as well to draw him in.
Oh man, Haunter bounced off his head. I think he went a little too far forward, was not planning on that.
That was definitely a whoopsie. Definitely a whoopsie. Both teleports are down for those top laners. They should get back at the same time in the turret, not hitting those minions. So Haunter saving a bit there in resources, should be all right.
Yeah, the wave is actually going to push towards Haunter. Very slowly. He'll make it in time to actually catch the wave,
right? Because
it's a Cannon mini wave, but it is very, very largely in his favor now. He's the option to freeze it if he wants to, but against the Rumble, he'll probably keep constantly wave clearing to get it to the turret. So Haunter's gonna rely on some lane freezing mechanics.
Also,
right in time.
Relatively easy to keep track of those summoner spells for the top lanes. They blue flash at the same time. We'll see if either play off of it with the jungler. be a Dragon pressure by the time that comes. It'll be around 11 minutes. 2-1 so far. Pretty good amount of kills here for our first game. Usually teams playing quite passive in a best of 5, but they definitely want to test each other out and see what the waters are like right off the bat.
That's true. And High just trying to rush that level 5. Constantly doing camps.
That's going to be big.
Some damage there in the bot lane.
Silent High so far. You forget about the junglers who just have to go to 6 and they pop out of nowhere. The team takes a big fight. Move. Pretty good pressure over Scuttles. Keeping control of the map for his team. It looks like he may head top side here. Or he just may be looking for High.
Yeah, they shot the Hawk shot. They saw where High was going. He's just making sure that he doesn't run up and go after Hanser there. Just hanging out. I like that Hawk shot too, because when you reveal High's location, it means you can just push out bottom no problem and know that he's not going to be there. High though, gonna hang out near the bot side now. Go to his red. Bunny Fufu knows it since he didn't show up there, he's gonna back, and he gets some deeper wards down.
Yeah, this looks like it could be a little bit of love for Dragon here with Vision. If they can get this pink ward cleared, it'd be real helpful. Seems like he has time. Right on his back though is Lemon Nation. Sneaky on the bot side here. Good damage before Dragon would definitely help Cloud9's cause to make that theirs first, but they will not be able to come up with too much on Bunny Fufu's shield. Both teams being very giving a lot of respect in these engages.
High though, High's jungle is actually relatively well warded. Gotta watch out for Move though. Move has been all over the map. Make a move on Incarnation.
Ooh, Incarnation actually gets blasted out. He's gonna run back towards the Chaos Storm. Does not want to do that. High goes in, very low on mana, but he's still trying to do what he can to reduce the magic resist for that auto. And now it's balls to come in. We don't have too much rotation from the bot lane. They're 2v2ing each other halfway up the river. Or as they make their way up the river, I should say. But not even too much DPS came out of that. Everyone gets out alive. A lot of resources spent though. Still in the bot lane, back and forth, Cyrene, but I don't think much is going to come of this.
Yeah, because that pink ward being there for Gravity and because that Cloud9 didn't have any vision further up in the river, had no idea that they were actually going there or if they were just sitting in the bush. So you can't follow that.
Whew. Incarnation almost kind of looking before he leaps there, was able to get out safely. Blows his flash though, maybe a return for Move towards that mid lane. Keen still has his up for an engage. This ward war right here in the bot lane is getting pretty rowdy. Hasn't really deterred the CS, 67 to 63. It's pretty even throughout all of the lanes as well, even the jungles. It's going to be all about the first moves. Dragon has been pretty quiet on the home front so far throughout this game.
And no Dragon's taking an early move. He's been focusing on lane pressure. He's going to go get this pink ward. It has one last hit on it, or he's just going to walk by it, realize it's there. There we go. Takes it out. Make a repeat visit maybe later on. But you always have to be conscious because Incarnation has his teleport available. He hasn't used it to get back to lane. He's got a solid 10 CS advantage as we approach the 10-minute mark. And once again, he's up in CS. This is that new Incarnation we've been seeing near the end of the split. Having that CS differential over his lane opponent.
Yep.
I think in his last 9 games, he's had it 8 times now. Oh,
very big.
Arrow on sneak.
Calls the arrow. Altec's going down about 100, 200 HP on that. I don't think this is going to call for Dragon on either side. There's a ping on to High right now.
They call for Move, though. Move is down here. He has flash body slam available.
Well, they see High right on Raptors. They just pinged him out. This could definitely be something. Looks like they're going to slowly back off.
Oh, he's going to check it right into him.
Oh, he does it. Sneaky did not back off. Walked right in, and he dodges the Glacial Fissure with the jump. Heals him and flashes himself out.
Oh man, Bunny Fufu.
Almost a big error.
Bunny Fufu put the Glacial Fissure after Move had already knocked him out of it. So you want to barrel him backwards. You don't want to barrel him into your AD carry, but they didn't have enough damage off that combo.
That's the second one. He did the same thing to Incarnation in the mid lane. And
oh yeah, his barrel
knocked out Incarnation. So that's 2 now. Unfortunate situation. They're trying to get these control fights in, and they're pushing everybody away instead of bouncing them towards them.
Yeah.
Still trying. Move has not given up on that bot lane, but we also haven't seen this effect of an Amumu ulti with Incarnation TPing in and this setup that they have going on. The first ult from High was defensively in the mid lane so far. With that now back up, we'll see if Cloud9 tries to set anything up on the map.
It's going to be a while, though. High looking for some type of team fight, some type of skirmish here.
I think Gravity knows as well.
Around the mid lane,
Avoid
though.
that quite hard. Don't group up. Do not be in a circle for this death ball that they can create. Already saw a TP towards that mid lane.
They saw him.
From balls.
High came out a little too early. That minion was still alive.
He just wants friends. Just wants friends.
Sometimes you want friends, but you gotta stay in the bush a little bit longer.
Yep.
You
You get an even
gotta
bigger
bait your
hug.
friends.
All right, so Keen not able to apply too much damage just yet. He does have 1,300 gold on him. Effectively 1,700 gold on balls here, so they're holding on the fight as well. With that power and stats and gold, that's going to be a save. Altec will lose a bit more health here. Not a mantra Q from Lemon, so it won't apply too much, but still deter Gravity from trying to engage anymore in the fight. Bunny Fufu definitely on that medic duty for Altec. He's getting hit up quite a bit in this bot lane, losing the trades.
Yeah, it is surprising though, because Tristana is a very big lane bully, constantly shoving you in. Altec though on this Ashe is faring very well. High, hanging on the bot lane though, he's looking for something.
That's gonna hurt.
But Move is here too. This would be a 3-on-3, but Altec does not have the HP or the ultimate to fight this.
I don't know if they want to bait it in. The arrow is actually down to look at the timer, so you are absolutely correct. A quick back from them. Move looks like he may try to go in, knock him into the turret. But I don't know. It would be scary. That teleport from Incarnation is still up. They'd have to make it happen. I don't think it's going to be what they want. Altec did stay, and that arrow may actually make them feel a little too insecure. Or I should say the hawk shot.
Yeah, they cleared it, made sure High was not in the bush anymore. He's clearing his red now. Move though has used a lot of his time here, and he's not gonna get it. He needs to back off of this. The bot lane is playing very safe. He comes out, he clears the ward finally.
Yep.
Yeah, he had body slammed into the bush. The ward didn't see him on entry. It sees him on exit though.
So Move again. He's kind of almost wasting time in the bot lane at this point. Hasn't focused any other lanes. Not the easiest to gank Incarnation in the mid, but not attempting to pressure anything else. Incarnation still up in CS and getting a bigger advantage as well. Just seems like bot lane may be going for not here with Sneaky not dying, only Lemon Nation once.
And looking at the gold right now, High has a bit of an advantage, and so does Incarnation. That's where Cloud9 is still staying in this, despite being down one kill. The gold is even.
Super even. Right on the dot.
Not much has happened in this early game. We've seen Move attempt to make some aggressive plays, but two of them fell flat by the barrel positioning on his ultimate.
Well, usually he hits those, gets the first kills, and then he's in the other jungler's face, which would have been perfect for Namumu in the early game because he just wants to get 6. And Move was no kill on Incarnation, no kill in the bot lane, unfortunately. So it's only been that much harder. Coming up on 15 minutes, though, still both teams kind of risk-averse as they do not go for Dragon. Vision constantly set up to figure out where High is around it. Gravity just does not want to group up for this Cloud9 composition right
Yeah,
now. I don't blame him.
Yeah, oh yeah, you don't want to.
I don't blame
There's 2 TPs, so if one person doesn't show up to the party, well, then your team's outnumbered, and there's the Wombo combo.
Exactly. And Cloud9's kind of leaving it up as a carrot on the end of a stick, saying, no, it's perfectly fine to go for it. You should do this.
Yeah, go ahead, engage on Sneaky. It's fine. But both teams are actually okay with a stalemate.
Yeah.
Both teams are okay with playing for mid-game. You have Victor, you have Ashe, you have Diana, you have Rumble. Cloud9 wants to play for mid-game, Gravity wants to play for mid-game. Cloud9, though, they have a little bit of an edge in team fights. That's just ever so slightly.
Yeah.
It's that Amumu. Where's the ultimate going to get placed? Because Incarnation, he does get split push pressure later. If Incarnation gets to the point where he's actually able to duel Keen 1v1 and pull him to a side lane, he'll most likely be off against Haunter, but you can 1-3-1 in this composition very effectively.
Let's see where they go.
Oh, right in Sneaky's face!
That wasn't sneaky at all!
He got his jump!
That was unsneaky! Or not sneaky! Rather unsneaky. It was everything. Wow, Altec coming out very nicely with that. They said, you know what? You want to kill him? I do.
The Glacial Fisher got the tiny knockup as he was rocket jumping. You saw his feet leave the ground, but it was interrupted.
It's hard to do on Triss channel. Cat actually escapes quite a bit. Even you get stunned on the end or something happens and you
she
land
still just goes. Oh!
We were wondering
almost
when they would turn the key, start the ignition. There's one of them. High tries to get over the wall as they go for kills across the map. They were a little angry that Sneaky went down, and they wanted to get a return kill. Keen finally turning it on as well. High just on the wing and not quick enough to get in for Incarnations to re-engage.
Quick upgrade 3 for Keen there. Spends all his gold on his perfect Hex core, so he has the suck-in on the gravity field to vacuum. I was actually very surprised when I saw that. I'm like, it's 16 minutes in, he already has that. A lot of gold invested in that instead of going towards a death cap, going towards a burst item. He's going for more utility.
This turret could go down in the top side. I was going to say, once Cloud9 gets these turrets down, but the last few engages have made their turrets fall here. We'll watch this bottom one again.
Oh, perfectly exploited there, right there. Boop. Oh, there's the rocket on his back, but it doesn't go anywhere. Perfect, perfect capitalization.
Comes up huge.
Really good capitalization there by Altec.
Answer with the Wamba stomp. Just laughing his face off. He's up in CS too. He got about a 30 CS lead in that lane. Balls has not been able to use the teleport. They have been, that's kind of what we say they want. They want to teleport, they want to fight. Gravity's been keeping it to the lane and actually is starting to get an advantage out of that now. Finally getting up there to a 2K gold lead. For 15 minutes, it was absolutely even. High now to the bot side. Pink ward control will still reveal him. I don't know if they're going to be able to get much out of this. If Cloud9 can start getting turrets, you get High in the jungle, some bandage toss from Fog of War, things are different. But they're being shut down now.
But look at all the wards around Gravity's bot side.
And they've been keeping that up.
Yeah, and here comes the flank in.
The Banshees fail already as well. 18 minutes in for Hanser here. He knows there's quite a bit of magic to be fighting against. Yeah, I don't know if you want to go that way. Still waiting for another jump. Mid lane, 1v1. Gets the Q out the last auto. Minion. Oh! It doesn't matter if he knocked him away that time. He blew him up with the explosive cast. Move gets himself a kill. Balls does go down in the end of that fight. And now Lemon Nation knocked out Winter's Bite on him, but concussive blows does not follow through with anybody else.
Little help from the Dragon there. Incarnation, his TP was interrupted by Keen's gravity field, so he wasn't able to actually get to that fight in that skirmish and was mispositioned and taken advantage of there. But even if he showed up, he didn't look like he had enough mana to actually continue the skirmish. It looked like something that Cloud9 thought was coming at them too quickly. The gravity TP from Hanser put them off guard. Because they have all these deep wards. They had all these wards around Dragon.
Wasting no time. And these wards are going down, and they're going to be backing for now. They want vision immediately to use right away. They don't care if they can't act on it. They just want that vision. It's definitely giving them a very big lead so far.
Yep.
Now 4,000. It's jumping 2K increments here. 15 minutes. It's even. 17 minutes. 2K gold lead. Now 20 minutes to 4K. 5-1 here. Gravity has actually found the fights and stayed away from the AoE of Cloud9.
Ooh, he stopped it to jump in on.
Yep, Blood jumped out with the ultimate, rushed in, just out of mana at the end too. Couldn't get the final passive proc. Huzzah!
Gravity might be pouring one out for Cloud9 there. A little help from the Dragon there on that last hit.
Yep.
I don't know why he was in the pit. I think they got routed off to the side after TP from Hanser.
We talk about gold being on the side of Gravity. There's still gold that stands in those towers right now for Cloud9. They pick a little bit more back up. They stand to still get mid and top if they can push forward, but their wave clear, not superb as well. You kind of got to get a few people into dangerous positions to make it happen effectively here. So if they get pushed in, that may become a problem as well.
You can see their Gravity, they don't usually have a lead. They average down 500 gold in 20 minutes. They're normally a team that if they get an early game advantage, they'll close the game out. But near the end of the split, that was not happening at all. This is a big turnaround too. Gravity had a lot of takeaways from their set against TSM in playoffs. It was some of these players' first playoff appearance.
Yeah.
And after that, you heard them in that sound on tape before, Altec saying they're taking things extremely serious after that loss.
I always like to hear that. You always like to see teams take things seriously from the get-go. It happens.
Sometimes it doesn't always work that way.
Well, you think, it's kind of, you go in thinking you have the answer, and then you see, oh, the solution to the problem was much different, and we didn't accurately assess it. Oh, there's a good one. That's just too much. That's the vision control that we've been talking about on the bot side, giving Gravity what they want. High now trying to waddle out of this one. The next ultimate used in defense.
Keep going,
and that's going to be the hit. A double kill now for Keen after playing a very relaxed mid game. 2-0-1.
But they're going to lose two tier 2s here. That is hard to say from Gravity's side. They're going to be able to pick up this one, And Altec is already pushing the bot lane one, and he gets it. So 2 tier 2s traded for 1 tier 2 in the top lane from Tristana with Sneaky.
Arrow flying to the
arrow
top
going
side.
there.
Not going to do too much.
Nope.
Few bits of damage to the minions surrounding, but they still drop the top turret as well. So there's a bit of that outer gold that Cloud9 was hoping to pick up, but like you said, they're losing quite a bit. You can see the reason. All those wards in the bot side of the map that Cloud9 has not been able to get.
I absolutely love this from Gravity, though. They keep pushing their ward line up, and it's focused around the bot lane, where Altec is, where the majority of their damage was. So he was able to really push bottom.
Too.
Exactly. So he's able to hawkshot across
Never
the map,
gonna
and that's
die.
what he's been doing, too, is he's sending his hawkshots into the brush in the lane,
Yeah.
down the lane, or over across the map near Gromp to check routes, to check who is on that opposite side of the map, and I absolutely love this. It's giving them so much control in this game. Altec helps the other side of the map. The other side of the map helps him. I like this. It's a lot of kind of helping each other. I'm trying to think of the word dependency, codependency.
Yeah.
They're helping each other.
Goes for the distortion boot upgrades extremely fast as well. Wants to be out of any of these situations, flashing around the map. He likes them.
He has those distortion boots too. Is that what you just said?
Yeah.
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 Oh
It's
man.
different. Early buy, that's for sure.
It'll give him that extra movement speed too when you flash.
That's true.
Not everybody's
Make
always
sure you can
thinking about that.
dodge the ult from high, and then you're definitely out of range from Incarnation, because he's then going to jump on you and your Ashe without any mobility.
Yeah, I like.
Works out. We'll see if it works out. So far, he's got the 2-0-1 previously with the team fighting very nicely around this death squad of Cloud9.
You can always see Gravity's intent by where their wards are placed. Now, all around the Baron, so many wards. They're definitely outwarding Cloud9 this game, and it's not just move. This looks like a huge team effort. Bunny Fufu already has the Zeeks, or sorry, not Bunny Fufu. Lemonation has the Zeeks completed for Sneaky, so the next team fight that comes around, watch for Sneaky, watch for that, and see what ends up happening there. But look at the arrow!
Oh, Incarnation gets hit. There's going to be the slow. He should be able to actually make a good amount of ground out of this one without getting hit by anything else that'll keep him in range. You see that Sneaky's in that bot lane. He could still come up, but they don't want to bring him into a bait. He's going to immediately back. Cloud9 does not want this fight. They're trying to disengage. Don't bring him to Sneaky! He should be back in time.
He's fine.
Incarnation's going to go down valiantly for the team. A push by high in the mid lane. How many others, or how many other people from Cloud9, however, they're able to join him? The answer is 0. He's just trying to create more pressure, so Gravity doesn't get too much more out of this one. But Gravity are now starting to get picks around the map that they want, and they didn't really have the vision to do that either. They were running through darkness.
So they're running through darkness, but they were very confident. They were able to see in the top lane that Ball was pushing with that lane ward that they have right after the tier 2. So they were actually pretty fine to do that. They saw the push up Sneaky in the bot lane, and it's a very low mobility Diana. And also at this point in the game, Incarnation, I'm not 100% confident. I don't know if he is either in his ability to 1v1 people. Hanser has built full matrices for the matchup against Balls, so Incarnation's not going to be able to 1v1 him in a split push.
Right.
And Keen probably isn't going to go split push. He'll probably focus on objectives and wave clear.
Bunny Fufu.
Diana's not really going to be split pushing this game.
Yeah, Bunny Fufu doesn't leave the side of Altec in these games either. Those two, quite a duo that they've been able to come up with this time. Altec previously is like Glee, Paragon, Imagine, so many different supports to still keep himself at a top tier 80 carry.
He was a support himself.
He was a support himself. Now Bunny Fufu and the captain of the team on the support side. These guys have definitely brought out a duo lane that can fight any other. Right now 2-0-2. Looks like those fast distortions are paying off.
Yeah, Hanser's doing an amazing job this game. His teleport's been on point.
Well. Yep.
His pressure's been on point. I like the Hex Drinker build immediately. Oh, high. Oh, a little early on that.
Flashed it forward, move. Oh, the damage onto high. They cannot get past Hanser or move right now. Lemonation's focused on the backside. Incarnation jumps in. It looks like he's trying to get onto Altec, but it just can't happen. Bunny Fufu is hip and hip with him. Balls goes in now. Sneaky, can he get the auto attacks off? A few more crits from him. That's the hit, the reset. Can he jump forward? Hanser, one hit away at Altec as well, but Altec could deliver the damage needed to take down Sneaky, and they have to back off.
It's a 3-for-3 at the end of the day, but they still get priority onto this turret, and that's a team fight win there for Cloud9.
Zeke's coming up very big in that fight. Now it's something that a lot of players are ready to see halfway through the fight, but Sneaky definitely bringing out the impact damage right there.
It's very difficult
making
to
Gravity
track.
change their mind.
It's extraordinarily
so
difficult.
to track.
You know when it's on, but you don't always know when it's about to be on. You have to be clicking on somebody and
These
watching
like a
their
sound
snack.
like.
You see right here? It's already activated coming into it, but it deactivates right there. They wanted to fight around it, and that's where they're looking for it. But he flashes after his Curse of the Sad Mummy. So he didn't get it on all 4 people. The TP comes through. Incarnation gets exhausted, but he gets to push them all back and groups everybody up. And now Haunter is left by himself defend, and that gives Sneaky free reign. I love the jump off to the side, not directly into them, but then the Zeke's turns back on, and he gets crit after crit there.
Yep.
Cleaning up that fight just barely for Cloud9 and giving them that turret afterwards.
See, almost. When it's pointing at him, that conduit's ready to go. Sneaky's ready to dish out the damage.
Yeah, you've got to be conscious of when the enemy has Zeke's at what point in the game, especially when it's a lopsided Zeke's, when your team has it and they don't.
And somebody like the Lemon Nation as well, most supports can still spit out their damage. You buy it on a Nautilus, you kind of got to hit everything, right? But if you're spitting out Qs, shields, and tethers, you're going to get that you're going to charge us a lot quicker in that fight. You got to be ready for it on the opposing team. 11-4 now. Gravity still holding the lead with 3K, but turrets are now 5-5. Gravity's wards are now starting to focus towards the top side of the map. They haven't been able to get some as deep. That may allow Cloud9 to start some of their engages that they have not been able to get. Expected to kind of see High and Team Explode 6, 7, 8 once they got the ultimates in, but Gravity did a very nice job at avoiding fights.
Yeah, they were able to get some skirmishes, some pickoffs there to create this lead. But now the lead's only 2.4, 2.7 thousand gold.
It shrunk, for sure.
Did shrink. And Elimination, it looks like he's going to go for Mikhail's Crucible next, which is extremely smart against an Ashe. The person gets hit by an arrow, boom, they're out of it. Their engage is stopped. And that might throw off barrels in the future, it might throw off some other things, but that's the thing, stunting that primary engage with Gravity.
See Locket of Iron Solari on both sides as well. Definitely a necessity in this one, and Balls finally finished that Zanya's a bit ago, so priority target for Gravity here. They may be able to switch things up if Balls can use that nicely with his Rumble ultimate and the High, and High hitting his.
It's actually funny, you mentioned the Locket of the Iron Solari on High. He wasn't usually one to build it. He was playing Shyvana, he was playing Nidalee, and Elimination was building it, even though Elimination wasn't really the one building it back when it was with Meteos. That one's just going to go wide. But the Locket was built on the jungler, so you could prioritize Zeke's for Elimination. If that hadn't have happened, they wouldn't have had that team fight go the way it did. So in retrospect, that's a very, very good build order for both the jungler and support, each holding a little bit of the weight to enable Sneaky.
Yep. And Fufu's job as well to stay in range of Ashe, so even more, always giving the resistances over and not leaving her behind. Haunter, more appeal for him. Randuin's Omen built after his Hex Drinker and his Banshees failed. It was pretty much rushed after that Hex Drinker.
How many wards are there even on the map for Cloud9? It looks like there's just 1 or 2. There's 3.
They're getting deleted a bit because it was just the pink ward.
There's
like
all these
slaughter coming in from
They're
Gravity.
rushing the Baron down because they have so much vision here. It's going to go down before they even get there.
Didn't even get to look at it. Cloud9 now retreating on this. They're placing all the wards that they have as they're fighting. That's how they're getting the vision. Keen in a very bad spot, gets locked up immediately and deleted. Altec now is crushed. That's exactly why Bunny Fufu has been hip with Altec this game. We see how fast he goes down without peel. Haunter now gnawing everyone into the wall, but the follow-up is still there from Cloud9. They choose to go for lanes. Top is already pushing.
They gave up Baron, but it's a 2,000 gold difference still. Cloud9 winning the team fight off the back of it, catching Keen just on the edge of the Curse of the Sad Mummy, and they had sectioned them off, splitting them 2 and 3, and that was the skirmish that Cloud9 wanted. Diana doesn't want to go into 5 people. Go into 2 people, great scenario.
Very careful here about what move can do. Actually, ultimate's down for him, so Cloud9, knowing that, are going to be able to stay a little bit longer. Absolutely shredding him. We haven't really seen Sneaky and the rest of the team be at a turret just yet, but that's what Tristana does for a living, is drop turrets. They get an inhibitor turret first one of the game.
This is pretty much off of sheer teamfight power from Cloud9. They aren't warding and rotating off objectives. Gravity is the one winning objectives. Save for turrets now, because Cloud9 have been winning some team fights and taking them afterwards. But Dragons, Barons, all over to Gravity so far, and C9 are just trying to force their way into this game.
This a very scattered fight. All peel up would really,
Yeah, 3 people
right?
go off to the right,
Just peel
and
up.
then High gets Keen. And everybody, that's a miscommunication there. And all of the tanks are off on the right side. Your squishy damage dealers, your AD carry and your mid lane are off on the left.
Side dish.
Keen
Or
walked
up
too
now.
far forward there. He did not want to get out. He wanted to go in.
Well, from positioning almost, you'd think your team was ready to fight. The teleport coming in, they want to take down balls immediately. He still has an ultimate to throw down, slow the majority of the team, but he doesn't even need to. Cloud9 is actually ready to turn and look at this fight. Does not look like either team is going to take it, however. Wards both sides, so no flanks are going to be coming in on this one. Probably just back and pick up resources in the jungle. 2 Zanyas now for Cloud9. Going to make the fighting a little bit easier for them. Might even start to see some of those elixirs start to come out to push players over the edge in these fights.
It's much harder for Gravity to take these team fights too. When you have 2 Zanyas and you have this Tristana that's being enabled by a Zeke's, what ends up happening is you have these 2 guys dive into the back line. You have the Rumble try to get to the back line as well, throw down his ultimate. If you focus either of them, they just Zanyas. And you're getting hit by Sneaky the entire time.
Yep.
And it's a very self-sufficient AD carry. And you look at the people on Gravity who can catch a Tristana, there aren't very many.
No. You have to hit a Glacial Fissure as soon as she's jumping.
Pretty much. You have to hit her with an
Again.
arrow, Glacial Fissure as she's jumping. But if she's just playing to her range, which increases as the game goes further, it's much harder to reach her.
Really, they need to use a priority ultimate or a skill just to stop Tristana. You know, explosive Cask, Flash Body Slammer.
You have to be
It's going
perfect
to be
for
tough.
that.
They don't have that much lockdown to put right on top of her, and we're seeing Sneaky be able to get out of these fights. Only died 1 time throughout that laning phase. Now they're fighting 33 minutes in. Cloud9's trying to defend their base. They can still work off that inhibitor down top, and they have a minion wave pushing in the bot side here that could actually do a little bit of damage, it seems, if they can start getting a fight with Gravity and they can't get back to it. This is what we knew Cloud9 from before as well. So maybe sometimes they'd falter if they didn't have a good vision in the early game, and then their fighting prowess would absolutely take control.
That's true. Cloud9 were always the team that had that teamwork coming into team fights.
Right.
And it seems like they're recapturing some of that. There's only a 200 gold difference between these 2 teams now. It is so minuscule. They are neck and neck. Or sorry, 2,000 is what I meant.
I got you.
Yeah, thank you.
I had a 0.
2,200.
It works out so well for them, though. We talked about it in the pregame that under High's kind of
Oh,
leadership.
right to Sneaky.
Oh my word. Chaos Storm with a whole front-loaded section of damage coming in from Gravity. Now onto balls. They take him down. Equalizer wasn't even used, and Gravity turned the switch. Cloud9 was not even ready for that fight.
They're going to get so much off of this. 30 seconds on the death timers. They have a bit of a minion wave. Are they going to keep going for it? They might be able to take out a Nexus turret or 2.
What is going on with games in North America right now? We saw.
Oh, High goes in!
Wait a minute, this could be a stop. Incarnation goes for Keen. That's the
exhausted.
damage. He flashes out. The Zanyas is there, but only to make Incarnation look good before he goes down. Haunter takes down High on the backside as well, and that is going to be all she wrote. A few minions coming in. That's going to be
Sneaky's up
all
now,
that they
though.
need. Sneaky is coming up. Incarnation's going to be there. And Sneaky, if he can get 1 reset out of Keen or move, they aren't going to have those charges yet for the Zeeks. They may be able to get back into this one. Knocking them away. They can keep themselves alive. Trying their damnedest to do so. 34-55. It's Perseverance pays off for Gravity. Not much Cloud9 could do as they were all on the fountain. And Gravity comes up with game 1. What a fast turnaround at the end there at the inhibitor. So like I say, I'm just seeing the same things in other games. Phoenix getting a shockwave, game's over. 1 fight like that in front of the base, game is over. Nothing said that that was going to happen all game long.
1 Ash arrow to the face, and you don't have McHale's yet, and the game is over. Hit the perfect target to hit. Nobody was in front of Sneaky there. Really, really, really dead-on arrow there to end the game.
Gravity kept themselves in a position to keep making moves and keep wards down. They moved their wards where they were going.
Fantastic.
It fell off a few times, but when it fell off, they only had wards around Baron. It's like they cleared everything. They said, let's do this. It's going to be a shotgun play. And after it worked, we saw that there was miscommunication after that. They thought about Baron, but they didn't think about the exit of Baron. And that was the flaw we saw in Gravity this game, but they were able to repair it.
Yeah, it was kind of a back and forth. They all seemed on the same page in terms of what is the team going to do as a whole all around the map. But then when they grouped up and all 5 people were on the same screen, they're like, okay, now what are we doing? We're all here. We're in attendance. How are we going to be micromanaged now? So that was the kind of the failure there for Gravity. But they pulled it out at the end off of a nice Altec arrow, a nice play, and the follow-up afterwards to stop everything. So I thought that was really, really well done by Gravity.
Definitely should have seen a lot more, I think, of capitalizing from Cloud9 in the early game. There were a lot of missed ultimates by Move, and Cloud9 was still coming up defensively with plays, not trying to work off anything in that. Yeah, you have to level the Moo, get everybody going. Teleport plays may not have been there, but you still got to make something work for yourself.
Yeah, Trashy was talking about which move is going to show up, the early season, the late season move. We kind of got a little bit of the in-between there. He looked like he was on the rise, returning back to his former self.
Yep. Well, let's send it over to the analyst desk for more insight into Gravity's Game 1 victory.
Thank you, gentlemen. And Freak, you said you wanted to take a look at picks and bans, so I feel like that's a good place to start.
Yeah.
How do you feel it played out?
I thought it was very interesting. I haven't seen the C9 comp much, so I'm going to reserve some of the judgment, but I thought it was pretty clever. They come out contesting a champion. They basically got a lot of good, strong early game champions, especially that Karma Tristana bottom lane, and then filled it in at the very end with the Amumu Rumble, which I thought made a really cool 5-on-5 comp. Karma can speed up Amumu. He can go in. He can set up the big Wombo. We saw the after the Baron fight. It play out properly, right? They pick off Keen right away. Diana helps make sure single targets. That's all cool and good for C9. That was kind of nice. I think it's a good comp. Gravity though, overall, like they picked really solid as well. They had a lot of good pick potential. The Ash arrows into the Victor, another really solid team fight comp for them as well. And especially, you know, going onto that red side and getting that sort of late pick Victor, the one after seeing Diana. Keen did super, super well, and it was good to see him kind of return to form and have a very strong game. Most damage in the game, 24,000 on Victor, big factor.
Now let's take a look at that Amumu pick, because it did seem as though Move had a little bit more relevance in the early game, got a couple good ganks off early, helping the bot lane, and up in the top lane against Rumble.
Yeah, I would also say Hyde did not have that good of a game on Amumu. One of the things that Move was able to do on Gragas is early game, it felt like he was everywhere. Like he got so many pressure-filled ganks off of, and then also early game was only down like 5 or 10 CS to high, so he didn't really fall behind. Additionally, I think that's one of the big reasons that Keen had so much success on Victor was because of the early game pressure that Gragas was able to apply, and it was actually still a very close game right before that turret take at the end, so it was a push-pull between both the comps.
One of the reasons why we don't see that much Momo play in professional plays is because you actually rely so much on your cooldown, your ultimate, when you hit 6. And Hai had one moment where he missed it in mid lane. He also had another moment where he missed it again in the mid lane. So you need a good setup to use it properly, where they actually use this Rumble and the Momo combo. Because whenever it's down, Gravity has a lot of freedom to just force towers, force fights, where they know they will win. So that is kind of the flaw of Amumu. I like the setup though, but they just didn't execute it.
Next, oh, do you have something? Or?
Yeah, I just thought it was really smart, actually, as you mentioned, Gravity taking fights they could win. Gravity were very slow to group up, and I think intelligently so. You know, they stayed in lanes for a very long time. They played for a lot of these 2-on-2, 3-on-2 fights, playing around Ash arrows, things like that. They would take Dragon, people were dead, but anytime we saw an open field fight, it became a lot closer of a battle. There was the mid lane fight where they grouped up 5-on-5, and Sneaky cleaned up the Baron fight again where the Amumu got a pick off, and so Gravity choosing to usually hide from 5-on-5, I think it was very smart of them to play around the enemy composition, and that was good.
One point about the Ashe is that we have seen more Ashe lately, and one of the things people countered with is taking cleanse on AD carry, taking cleanse on mid lane. And when we see C9 lock in Diana, we know most players recently take it with the TP. And on the other hand, Sneaky didn't have cleanse. So I would have liked to see cleanse on maybe Tristana. I don't think it would be possible in the mid lane, but at least on Tristana to like prevent some of the picks we saw in the last fight where Gravity won. They actually lost because Sneaky got caught by the arrow. Which is, I think, very, very concerning that they didn't pick up the cleanse.
Cloud9 on your screen right now probably discussing what they're going to have to change going into Game 2. I do kind of want to return to your point, Freak, about how slow the earlier portions of the game played out. We saw the gold lead, or lack of gold lead, kind of hold even for quite some time. And it points to the statistic that we saw pop up in the middle of the game, in that Cloud9 had trended towards having gold leads at 10 and 20 minutes, whereas Gravity gold deficits.
Absolutely.
This time around, though, 20 minutes came, Gravity had that lead. So how does Cloud9 get back to that?
More early game pressure, honestly, when they allow the Gragas onto the side of Gravity and pick the Amumu themselves. They're kind of opting into having a lower pressure style. Also, the fact that they didn't have cleanse on Sneaky, as Trashy pointed out. A lot of times when we've seen Ashe, it's actually been in blind pick games in Korea where you don't know the Ashe is coming, so you don't bring cleanse. I do kind of feel like it's a little bit inexcusable not to bring cleanse against Braum Ashe, where the only way they kill you is by chain stunning.
Yeah. And you know where they could have used the cleanse?
At the end of the game.
At the end of the game. So let's pull up that clip, 34 minutes into the game, in the top lane. Jat, you can continue your point here.
Right. This is the defining moment of the game, because prior to this, it actually did seem like Cloud9 was going to be able to come back. The gold lead was only about 2,000 for Gravity. We'd just seen Cloud9 kill both the main damage dealers for Gravity in the Baron Pit, and then Gravity was just grouping up for a siege right here. And honestly, Sneaky's in the front line because, let's be fair, they don't have a true tank, so they're always vulnerable to these picks. They land one Ashe arrow. It completely destroys him. You could see High was actually going for the initiation, so Cloud9 was calling that they were going to make a fight, which is probably why Sneaky was up there. But once again, it's so risky without the cleanse. As soon as they get the kill onto the one damage dealer, High calls off his flank, and they just get ran down. And honestly, credit to Gravity for making the call at this point to end the game.
Yeah, this one to actually close the game out is really, really clutch here. I mean, okay, 5v2, it's not hard. 25 seconds, you have enough time to go over this turret, and you feel safe about it. This fight honestly feels fairly safe for Gravity to take. I think C9's trying to buy enough time they can clear the wave, which they do here, and then hope that the rest of the team respawns or someone gets away. But Hans makes a really good dive to make sure the Amumu goes down. They re-get the ace, but then you're like, okay, we have no minions left. We're taking damage here, and the next two guys are spawning, and Rumble's up at 8 seconds too. This becomes a very tough call to go for. If you screw up, you give up a lot of the map again.
They made sure the minion wave was clear so they get the reduced armor on the turret to near the end of the game. Also, whenever someone was taking a turret during that dive, it was either Bunny, Fufu, or Move, the people that don't need to be alive to kill the turrets. So it was well executed, and they really kept a measured head considering it was a back and forth game. And a failed dive there where they get counter-aced could have cost them the game.
Yeah. It opens up a lot more of the map. I think you can't quite end the game on like 32-minute death timers, but you certainly get a lot of it back. And when you're that close to winning the game, it's definitely not a giveaway. I do want to quickly touch on your cleanse point on Tristana, because you're right that it's just a much more risk-averse style, and like it'll make sure if an arrow hits. Generally speaking, these guys are playing on like 8 ping, and they're all like 700 range Ashe arrows. Like even the one that hit there to close the game out, you saw Tristana run backwards. Like he moved his mouse, clicked behind him, and said, "Oh, I should run away from Ashe." It just didn't like hit W. Like he actually like mechanically misplayed, which is very rare for Sneaky. I feel like he's a good enough player to just like rocket jump or flash his abilities, and in almost every single case failed to dodge, which to me is very unlike him. And you obviously saw it play out as well. Lack of cleanse got him killed, but I feel like he should have been fine.
All right, well, with that win, Gravity grab the first win to heat up the series. We'll be right back with Game 2 between Cloud9 and Gravity in just a few minutes.
What if I did that? I brought like a lawn chair to LCS. Just put it down behind you guys for only Pix fans.
That'd be sick, dude.
We all carry in a sofa. That'd be dope.
I'm not gonna get to tell this story. Oh, ball's going deep. Oh, another shot. Oh, one more shot. He goes down, unfortunately. Gets the Q out the last auto. Minion. Oh, it doesn't matter if he knocked him away that time. Balls goes in now. Sneaky, can he get the auto attacks off? A few more crits from him. That's the hit, the reset. Can he jump forward?
Victor. Okay,
Yeah, we got
up. Going up. Nice, keep pushing up.
Nice, go.
Tower first. Mumu can't fight. Rumble.
End the game.
Mumu no flash.
Perseverance pays off for Gravity. Not much Cloud9 could do as Gravity comes up with game 1.